Ta-da! I'm back. We do mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. Sweet. Makes me happy. Well, hello and welcome again to the ThePhilipCast Live. I'm so excited to be back home for a little bit and actually get to do this again. There's been a few updates. One, I got a haircut and it feels awesome. Just in time for the temperatures in Tennessee to drop 20 to 30 degrees. So fall is here, y'all. Fall is here. Yeah, just got back from Florida. Prayers and thoughts going out to those affected by the hurricane, and it seems to continue to be moving towards South Carolina. So we'll be there in just a couple weeks. So hopefully everyone is staying safe, and yeah, prayers up for you guys. I was watching some videos and it was just nuts. Just the wind and the rain and just everything that was going on there. So hope everyone's doing all right. Everyone made it through. A little update on Benjamin, I guess. For those who don't know, Benjamin's been suffering from some ailments of the intestine, and it seemed to be some sort of, I guess, infection virus thing that sort of went crazy. So, but he's doing better now, but he's just resting up a lot. So that way he can do some of the shows that we had to postpone, and we had to cancel some things, but we've been trying to reschedule as many as possible so that way we can continue to play our music and share the hope of Christ to as many people as possible, even in our ailments. Katie, I do not know when we'll be back up in Michigan, but I hope it's soon. We're usually up there in the winter at least, because y'all get enough snow to where we can actually go snowboarding and stuff. And so I enjoy snowboarding, and Michigan gets a lot of snow. So hopefully you guys get a lot of snow, so that way it makes it worth it to go up there and hang out with y'all and go sledding and snowboarding and whatnot. So I did 2 other streams. If you go onto my YouTube channel and click on the playlist, there's a live stream playlist there. I released 3 songs like within the past year or two, at least like in the past year. Just some pop punk hymns versions of songs, or pop punk versions of hymns. I need to learn how to actually connect a sentence together that makes sense. But I released those 3 songs, and this is the 3rd of those 3. And this one took a long time to kind of polish out and get right. And I did a live stream on Facebook not too long ago, but I decided since I'm kind of doing more live streaming on YouTube, this would be a better place to do that, to archive all of these. And then probably after this one, I've got a bunch of cool little toys and things to mess with. So probably the next few will just be like hangout sessions and me making really terrible noises for a long time. So those will be fun. So without further ado, okay. So a couple things. One, I mentioned in, I think, the past live stream that I was looking at getting the Mac Studio, and I was looking at getting something a bit more of a permanent installation. Well, I did. I got the Mac Studio, and it is amazing. And the beautiful thing is this temp is really low compared to what it was. I was looking for the battery logo to see how my battery was doing, and it doesn't need a battery because it is running off of like legit power, and it doesn't need a battery. So the sensors, all of that, I mean, it's so much more chill. The fan noise, it's non-existent. I've got the 10 gigabit Ethernet. I'm running that, so I've got my stable connection, so hopefully everything's working good. I changed something on the GoPro. I'm running at 2.7K at 30 frames a second, even though it's scaling to 1080p and outputting at 1440, just so I get a higher codec. It's not actually 1440. One day it might. That'd be kind of fun. Hopefully if we get AT&T fiber soon, I'll be able to stream a little higher quality, hopefully. But that's why if you see a little bit of a delay in my hands and it's not as crisp on my video, that's why. I wanted it to be a little sharper, because 1080p with GoPros, they're not exactly the best. So, but all that to say, I'm really, really excited, but I'm also slightly nervous because this is the first time running a live stream on a whole new rig. So I've got my rig over here, the secondary display with all my fun gadgets and data for everything, and the Mac Studio, and I'm running OBS 28, which is the newest version of OBS, and it's, still has maybe a few bugs and a few things to work out. And then I'm running Cubase 12 in Rosetta 2, so that way I can run all my plugins and everything. So it's not running native. So there will be like some CPU spikes and some things. And so hopefully it doesn't crash. I'll save it and make sure it doesn't do anything weird. And if it does, I'll just restart it and that'll be fine. So hopefully nothing goes weird, nothing goes crazy. But let us get right into it. Yay, it worked. All right. Here's the session from a top to bottom. This one had a lot of... what am I clicking? See, again, I don't know what's going on here. Am I hitting the right button? I'm probably not hitting the right button. Oh my goodness. Oh, seriously? Wow. Okay. Am I not hitting the right button? What the? Like I said, I don't actually know what's going to happen. I thought that was zoom in and out. Oh, it is. Okay, so right off the bat, I have a markers track up here, a marker lane. And if you can actually split your main workflow and any sort of like tempo track or markers or anything in kind of this separate section. And I was clicking the button to zoom in and out in the wrong thing. So I need to select down here. There we go. Now, there we go. I use markers. I should use markers more often, but I don't, for kind of that reason right there. All right, for realsies though, here's the project. Let us do a sound check and see how this goes. Assurance, Jesus is mine. Oh, what a foretaste of glory divine, heir of salvation, purchase of God, born of His Spirit, washed in His blood. This is my story, this is my song, praising my is my story. This is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story. This is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. Snap. Oh, snap. That's a fun one. I listen to this every now and again just to kind of check, it's always fun to check your work whenever you have fresh ears. So that way you don't lull yourself into a false sense of, what a mix sounds like. And every time I come back to this one, I'm always really excited. Makes me happy. All right. Well, I froze the drums. We'll jump right back in. We'll jump right into this one. It took me a while to get this set. I had a demo for a long time. But the vocals, I wanted the vocals to be, well done. I wanted to make sure I got them right. Because I have a really bad case of demo-itis. So if I lay something down, it's really hard for me to come back and redo it. Because I always feel like if I did it good enough to walk away from a project for a while and then come back, I don't know if I can do it again, which I need to get over. Because I can always save what I already had, and so nothing's ever really gone from a project. But yeah, this song definitely started to have the demo-itis stuff. But then I think I upgraded Cubase and then had to get a whole new drum program. So I ended up having to remix the entire drum kit anyway in order to continue working. And that really kind of forced my hand to be able to create, just to create again and throw more stuff on there. Check 1, 2. Yeah. Might turn my mic up just a hair if it's sounding okay. Give me just a hot second. Hey. Doo-dah. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Yeah, let me... Yeah. There's that. And then I think I might just bump this up a little bit more. Hey! Then bump this up one more. There we go. Check 1. There we go. It's a little louder. I like it being a little bit louder. There we go. So with this, whenever I had the studio set up and I had a vocal chain ready to go, I was like, I should probably take this opportunity to really lay it down. So I laid down the vocals, last, but also literally years after making everything else. So this was definitely a work in progress. But yeah, so drums are SSD5, just a standard kit. I've got all the bells and whistles out here. Let me solo up the drums real quick and we'll listen to those real quick. The biggest kicker for this song is I really wanted it to sound in the vein of Breaking Benjamin, specifically kind of the Phobia record. Evil Angel was a huge inspiration to this. Just that. It is really close. When I was, it's 6'8", so it's nice. What's up? Jesse, what's up, man? Afternoon. But yeah, so I really wanted that kind of really tight, ringy snare, a lot more of the room mics and overheads and stuff. So hopefully that kind of came through. So a lot of rock and roll there. E. So it's all frozen, but I had, at this point, I think I was just throwing in like consistent things. Like, howdy. I was running an SSL channel, kind of doing some cleanup work into an 1176, which was it was taming dynamics, which of course it's triggered drums, so they're going to be pretty consistent, but still, adding attack and some body and whatnot. And then I think with this one, I might have just been adding like some top end or whatnot. And that's probably consistent. Yeah. And so with the snare, so the MV2 is bumping up that ringiness from the snare, adding a lot of that kind of sustain. And without it, it just kind of dies out. So the MV2 is an up and down compressor in one plugin, which is absolutely amazing. So it can compress the top and keep the dynamics, the peaks from jumping. And then it will do an expansion, like it'll compress upwards with another little lever. And it just does something really awesome to just kind of lift up, especially vocals when they're really dynamic. It can compress that top end, a little bit if you don't want it to go too crazy. But if something drops down and you get that last little bit of a word or that last little bit of a tail on something that is very dynamic, that upwards compression is absolutely amazing. So usually I'll do that, and then maybe into it like another compressor. And then that way it really just locks down. See, that's what I was doing here. So I was compressing it here to kind of get the dynamics closer, and then the snare getting a little bit more 76 for smack and whatnot. And then the tape is really good for just cleaning up the transient. So that way it wasn't the compressor putting too much attack, coming through. The tape emulation kind of smooths that transient out. Actually, funny enough, you say that about Jesse about the DBX. I made this mix before I got it, but I do have a DBX 160. Dun, 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 dun. It's the Waves version, but I really like it. I've been putting this on individual drums, or I'll use this on the drum bus to add just a little extra schmack on like a group. So if I do little movements on individual channels and just kind of like compression over like 3 or 4 stages, that way it doesn't get clamped down like super hard by one thing. It's really nice to add just little by little, but that DBX 160 is really cool. I really like it. What else I got? Okay, so yeah, pretty standard stuff, I'm assuming. On the individual mics, snare direct had soothe. Just for kicks and giggles, I'm gonna keep frozen tracks, but I'm gonna unfreeze this just so I can see kind of what some of this was doing. Hopefully this project won't blow up. Ooh. But part of that is because there's just so much processing. Air of salvation. that's another reason why I like this computer, because it can actually handle it. There's a lot going on, but it can hold its own. So the soothe. Yeah, so it's just taming. Again, with a lot of digital stuff in the box type programming or anything like that, there's usually a synthetic high end. There's just something there that's just a little extra. And so plugins like Soothe and Kramer Tape really help kind of mellow out that kind of digital harshness. So let me see, it was the snare. Yeah. I like to get it close to 0. You can go over and it'll really slam. And usually what I'll do is I'll take it to that point until it's doing too much of what I want it to do. And then I back it off just a little bit to get back the transient sound. But like, it's kind of crazy what it'll do. Got that kind of wacky kind of sound with the tape on there. It's really nice. Yeah, see, so I'm only doing a little bit. I'm not even compressing the top, but just enough. Just lifts. But what I've been doing more recently is putting this on the group and not individual channels. So that way every snare that's in the project gets that extra little boost. With the kicks, let's listen to the kicks. Oh yeah. I don't know if I was running the kick trigger or not. This plugin also does a little bit of a scoop. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not looking on a graph, but sometimes it'll do a little scoop on the low end, kind of like low mids, and it just sounds really good, even just on. So usually I'll just turn this on and leave it the level, whatever's happening, leave it at 15 IPS and on the normal bias, and it just adds something cool. And then if there's any extra little thump through, it helps tame that. I'll have to check out the Voxengo stuff. DSM-3. Yeah, I'm always looking for new things. I bought Soothe just because a lot of my home recordings, overheads were the worst because I just was recording in bad rooms, and the overheads just never sounded good. And so with Soothe, I'm able to throw that, like, probably I have it on here. Yeah. Just something to chill out that really harsh, just, I don't know, just craziness of cymbals in a bad room. And when they're digital, they can get really harsh. So I've been putting it on Soothe on these just to get, because I like having more overheads in the mix. You know, I really want to hear the cymbals. But just digital cymbals just sound weird. They're just really sharp. So this is a good way to kind of... And with SSD, because I know with like Superior Drummer and there's a few other programs out there, they have like the bleed function, like the mic bleed. So like you can hear everything through particular channels. Like if this was a real drum kit and I soloed the snare, you wouldn't just hear the snare. You'd hear, you know, the hi-hat, you'd hear the cymbals, you'd hear, you know, the ring of the kick drum. Like you would gate it, but you would still, like, you'd be gating something that's in an atmosphere with other components versus it just being a snare, just being, you know, toms or whatever. And so these overheads and rooms are kind of the only thing that sort of ties these samples together. I don't know, it's kind of weird. Because usually when I play it like this, I can't tell. Like, I don't know if that's fake or not. It's just all the other things that sound weird. Let's see. Yeah, so the drums were pretty consistent mix-wise because what's it doing here? We'll bump at 200 on the snare, I guess. Again, these were released about a year ago, so I'm just as surprised as y'all are. Yeah, Kramer. It ends up in different places. Toms are pretty straightforward on the individuals because I have a group, and the group has a little extra something going on with it. I'm happy and glad. So we'll get that going. Limiter to keep them from going crazy. Watching and waiting, looking up. The ThePhilipCast? Oh, that's cool. I will definitely write all of these down and definitely be checking them out for sure. Filled with his goodness, lost in his love. This is my story. Not too bad there. Let's see. Got a snare trigger. I'm afraid to open up trigger because sometimes it crashes, but I think I just had some standard samples. Just something I usually put in a sample that will fill in the gaps of whatever the original sound is. So if the sound is a little bit more higher pitched, more top end, I'll bring in something a little bit more mellow, a little bit more dark, and have some beef. So that way they complement each other and kind of fill in all the gaps. One awesome trick and tool is this monster of a plugin. It just synthesizes like some low end, and on snare, it's a completely different sound. It's so good. I probably overuse it, but I enjoy it. So kick, snare, toms, and then I was doing something on here where I was using decapitator going into this guy, really slamming it, and then this guy sort of at the very end. And what he was doing is, if I line these up, yeah, I like doing this. This is fun. This was my parallel chain. Just trying to get that grit and nastiness to kind of push up with the shells and whatnot, to make them sound just that much more gritty and analog and whatnot. Dedicated snare verb. Adding a little extra length. Actually, it's gated, so it's probably not. It's only getting a little bit. EQing into H verb. I always love mixing drums. As a drummer, I enjoy it. Yeah, pretty straightforward. One of the things I had to do when I had used SSD4, and I think it is a 32-bit plugin, I believe. And when I went up to like the next version of Cubase, it like didn't work or something was going wrong with it. And so the only thing that I could get something to work was this little drum loop. So this is from SSD4, I think. Yeah, so I had to print it. And it's just like overheads and room cranked up. Breaking Benjamin did that a lot for like kind of like these down spots. Assurance, Jesus is mine. Oh, what a forte. And I really like that. And a shaker. Gotta have the shaker. This is definitely a loop. I didn't add a tambourine. I'm not sure if I just didn't want to add a tambourine or something. Okay. Ooh, so this is okay. So include inserts for instrument tracks. Load when frozen. Yes. But I don't think I want to unload it when it's frozen. So we'll just do that. We'll give it a hot minute. Yeah. Okay. See, because that was the big thing I was trying is getting. I could never get my low end to sit right. On headphones, I could get it close, but I always felt like I was overdoing it, so I wouldn't go overboard. And then I would go check on a speaker, and like I think it was my When We All Get to Heaven mix. I showed that to our producer who had a sub in his room, and like I couldn't hear the low end. I was like, he had a sub and it didn't like and I thought it was already really crazy. The mix sounded good to me. And then when he played it through, he's just like, yeah, I just got to fix the low end. So I'm trusting that in certain instances, even if the bass feels thick, it might be overbearing, it's worth like giving it a chance. So that way, if it's overdoing it, I can just back it off. But it's also nice to be able to just push it through and let it be super awesomely subby and whatnot. But XML file. So what hidden settings? You'll have to send me a link on something. I'd love to check out some more. Waves is really good. But one of the things that's kind of got me sort of between a rock and a hard place with Cubase 12 specifically is Cubase 12 will only allow VST3 in native mode. So I'm running in Rosetta and everything works. But if I ran this in native Apple Silicon mode for the M1 Max, only VSTs show up in Cubase 12. Or VST3s show up. So like every company that's gone up to the next level works. But like the next grade. But like my UAD stuff, all my UAD plugins are VST2 until they upgrade, until they make an update for VST3. So like I could like half of my plugins, including all the Waves plugins that I bought years ago, you have to buy like the new version, like Waves. I think they just came out with like Waves 14, and that has like new features and they've added some things to each plugin, but it'd be like over $200. So I'm still looking at some ways of doing that because I want to run this in native eventually. But for now it runs pretty well. In its standard mode, and more things are becoming native, and more companies are coming out with VST3's versions of stuff. So it's just UAD is really good. And, I use an Apollo Twin X here. And so the UAD stuff is really nice. I like it. But something with Cubase 12, they just decided not to support VST2s, and I was like, sad day. Yeah, definitely. I'm learning the less is more. Not doing as much compression like on the master bus, like allowing little bits of compression throughout a mix to where the master bus compressor is just barely kind of holding things. Learning more about ratios, and the attack speeds and releases and all of that. So like 9 times out of 10, when I come back to a song like this, especially when I was doing the live streams, I could easily tweak like a couple different things and make it sound like more pleasing now, because I know like a few things that I wasn't doing back then. I'm like, man, should like do a remaster, even though these are only been out like a year. But anywho, let's see here. Moving on from drums, because they're pretty straightforward overall. We'll close. Yeah, drum verb. Purchase of God. Just adding more and more room. Again, each drum company has their own sonic of drum rooms, far and close, and all that. And I have a few emulators now that I use, just even as extra, just to add more and more depth to drums, which are fun. This again, I think I did it on the other stream too, but this was one of those I made so long ago that I had to come back, and when I wanted to put heavier guitars in, I did, just because the original guitars weren't heavy enough. So these are the guitars. I wonder, okay, so I have an acoustic group. There's the lead. Do I have another group, guitar group? I don't. Okay, good. So just vocals and effects. Yeah. All right, so here's guitars. Yeah, Benjamin and me, we've gone back and forth with checking out HD tracks. Because again, it's not like the consumer stuff you get like on Apple or Spotify. Definitely not Spotify. Spotify kind of ruins everything with their codecs and stuff. So if you really want like good quality music, unless you get like, I guess I think Spotify has like an HD version or whatever. I use Amazon Music and sometimes YouTube Music. They both probably do their own things to when they encode and process stuff. But HD Tracks is really good. And I use that as reference sometimes to make sure, things that are MP3s, it's like, oh man, listen to the high end of this MP3. It's like there is none because it's an MP3. So HD tracks are really nice. The biggest thing I'm kicking myself over whenever I release these songs is I listen to too many people saying to master to -14 LUFS. So that's dumb, because the normalization, or like the if you click on the normalize audio in Amazon, or I'm sure every streaming place has it, it will drop your mix down to a consistent, it basically turns it down to where its average is 13 to 14 LUFS minus 13 to 14 LUFS, so that it's consistent. But if you master underneath that, if you're not as loud or louder than that, it doesn't matter. If they turn it down, it's just going to be too quiet. And so for me, like these mixes here, I got them pumping up to like -7 or 8. Because if you turn that thing off, if you turn off that little normalization, which I recommend in some cases, if you're out for running or working out or whatever, you can turn it on because it basically just keeps everything the same volume and nothing goes crazy. But if you're just listening to an album, turn that off, please. As a musician, I request you turn it off because you're actually killing. You're using an algorithm to kill like what the mastering engineer actually did to get the mix to sound a certain way. So yeah, I kind of wish I would have just sent these the way they were mastered out. So that way, even if they got turned down, they'd still be nice and loud. I got methods from somebody. That's not somebody. Go away. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. So let's see. Let's listen to these guitars here. What do I got? I learned this fun trick by Andrew Wade, who does a lot of Wage War and Neck Deep and A Day to Remember. He mixes a lot of their stuff and helps produce them. He would put a transient type plugin on the guitars to get the initial attack more intense. And so I came back through and added that little booger to give kind of the pick attack a little harder. That little bite every time the guitar comes back in, especially after pauses, that little bite really helps kind of the impact. These are, I don't know what these are. These might have been something else. So I think these were the original guitars I had. And these guitars were just probably tracked in with Benjamin's Pod, or I was doing something, I'm not sure. But this would have been Helix running. Turn that up. So that's what's cool is Soothe is taking a lot of like that sharp, fizzy, like 3.4, but then I can add top end and a little bit of, you know, something in that vein, in that area, add that back, and so I was taking a little bit there, but I can add it back and it's not as sharp. It's kind of already done sort of these like little minute shifts in those harsh frequencies, and then I can just add them back in and it feels really good. Oh yeah, I remember you, Jesse. I saw Jesse, but your picture's really small, so I was like, I know a Jesse from somewhere. Yeah, it's just so weird, like with the loudness war going on, and there's just so much going on. It's really, really hard to keep up. And if you don't know how to make stuff super, super loud, then it's just quiet and people, don't want to listen to it. But like, I'll go back and listen to like the original Linkin Park album. That Linkin Park album is slamming, but it's actually a quiet album. It's pretty quiet. And because the reason it slams so hard is because you got to turn it up because of the dynamics between the choruses and the drops and everything that's going on. It just sounds absolutely amazing. Is LKFS? What is that? There are a lot of letters I don't understand. I'm learning though. Like LUFS. So like for instance, I can probably pull this up here. And so this is what I got running for this. I mean, I did like a little, this is not the master. This is like a pseudo loud mix that I did before I actually mastered. This is my story. This is my song. Praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story. This is my song. Praising my Savior all the day long. So I kind of wish I'd have left it there. It's all good, man. It's all good. But yeah, so guitar. So those are the originals. Soothe, kind of taming the terribleness of how I tracked them in. A little bit of top end, cutting a little bit of that top. Just kind of bringing in their frequency range. So they sound halfway decent. These are heavier. So that grit is coming from these little boogers here. Mix wise, let's see what I got here. This is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. Yeah, so they're pretty neck and neck. These never mind. I was looking at the wrong one. The octaves are pretty close, but this guitar here, these heavy guitars are driving the mix pretty good. What up, Brick? No, you're just in time, man. It's all good. It has been way too long. We've been out on the road, and I've been, I got the new Mac Studio, and the base model with the terabyte hard drive. I got it on eBay from a guy selling it, and it runs great. It feels awesome. I love the fact that my temps are relatively low for compared to what I was running at like 90, 80, like high 80s whenever I was trying to stream and do all this at the same time. It was absolutely terrible. But yeah, this makes me feel a lot better that I'm not destroying a piece of equipment, or melting it. So, but now I've got kind of a more mobile rig, which is what the laptop should be. The laptop, I was using it in clamshell mode in here, and it like rarely left the studio. Now that this is here and this is kind of a home base, the other studio can be used to just kind of used out and about and whatnot. Might be the new live playback rig, because we want to do some more stuff integrated with lyrics and like video stuff when we play live, and we just don't have a strong enough computer. All of our other computers are like 2012 MacBook Pros. I hit that button. It is really good. It's I've not even pushed it probably to its max potential. Get it? Because it's M1 Max. But there's just a few things like Cubase 12 is running in Rosetta mode, so it's not taking the full, the full grit of whatever this thing actually is capable of. Still doing a fair bit. I just love the fact that I'm not burning something up. That's my biggest thing, was just that laptop got so hot and the fans were running and just all this crazy stuff. I just didn't want to have to deal with it. Let's see here. Yep, so I got those stacked together. Sound like... So again, with even when, like, I was talking about with doing samples and adding things into an original sound, these lower guitars, while less distorted, have more low end to them. So I brought in heavier, higher end, like high gain guitars, and then blended those in um, to kind of get a full spectrum guitar. Yeah, so they run fairly well. Like right now, I'm not even running. I'm running because just of the mix and for safety. I'm running it at a higher buffer size. But I was doing some stuff yesterday, and the buffer size was like 128 or something like that. And I kept it really low, and it felt fine. There were some spikes when I was using contact stuff, like Reactor and a few things where they're pretty CPU intensive. And so I didn't kind of freak me out a little bit there. But those things like Reactor 6 and Battery 4 are getting optimization early next year. So it's like putting the cart before the horse, because the horse is on its way to the cart, and then you can put it in the right order once it's there. It's really weird. That's a terrible analogy. But it's just, I know, within the next year, a lot of plugins and things are going to be, because the M2 is around the corner and a lot of people are going to upgrade to M2, but for studio people, like, they'll finally catch up. It's like usually as soon as they release another piece of tech, everyone else, catches up to the last thing. So I just wanted to make sure I had something that was, this is probably going to be the long haul one that I just have forever, just because, I don't really foresee myself needing any more. I say that now, but in like 5-10 years, if I'm still doing this, I mean, unless a lot of it's when technology changes. So if plugins, VST4s or 5s come out, or, whatever, blah, blah, blah happens, it's like everyone's filming in 4K when 4K used to be like a very niche, small market thing. Now everybody can pull out their phone and, oh yeah, I'll film in 4K or 8K on some new phones. It's like, so you can't do that unless your phone hardware can take it. So that's probably, if I upgrade in the future, it'll be because of that. Yeah, I saw the M2s. Yeah, that is so true. For sure. But yeah, no, I know the M2s are out, but I think somebody was saying like the jump between the M1 and the M2 isn't as significant. I'm sure they still are faster and more efficient, but the difference between the Intel MacBook Pro and to the M1, like people were saying, was night and day. So I'm still getting used to the whole architecture of this. This is running Monterey and all that good stuff. So it's fun to play around with and whatnot. Let's see. I got octaves here. Definitely something I should have gone back through and made like stereo octaves, but I was being lazy and just threw a doubler, I think, on it. Yeah. More transient. Guitar ARP. Yeah, that's going to be the kicker. Is the studio versions getting the Mac 2s or the M2s are going to be insane. But again, like almost everybody that was showing the M1 Ultras, they're like, this is not for consumer. Like it's not for like average consumers and users. Like, this is a monster of a computer. And so to me, it's like, that gives me hope that this thing, even though it's base model, like, it's still highly recommended and has tons of power. I'm good for a while. Again, once, because again, I'd still be on the laptop. The main reason I'd switched this soon was because I didn't want to damage components because of how hot things were getting. And I knew I wanted to stream more times than not. And so I just knew that the average workload I was putting on it, if I wasn't streaming or if I wasn't doing any sort of like extra multitasking, was fine. It still is a beast of a computer, and I'd probably still use it as like a mobile recording unit. So I can just, even if I have all the plugins and licenses on here, I can still record and do, stock plugins and whatnot. So if I need to go somewhere and record something or do, or any sort of remote demoing or whatnot, I can still bring my rig with me, do that, bring it in, airdrop. Oh my gosh, airdrop is so nice. I sat here for an afternoon and was just airdrop, and it was just so great. But I would just airdrop the files into this and then work. And that was my biggest thing, is I've never owned a Mac like desktop. We've only gotten the Pros because we always take them on the road. So this makes me feel like, it's here to stay. It's good. It's just chilling out. Oh, I like it. Yeah, this little guy. Oh yeah, airdrop is nice. I've underestimated it. I automated the delay on this because of the stop. So let's listen. I like the delay stuff. That's one big thing in Breaking Benjamin stuff, is they add a lot of those little janglies. I call them jangly guitars. They all just kind of boop around and whatnot. The lick at the beginning. Let's listen to the ARP, because the ARP I think had the solo part. Get some diamonds, some rakes. And then those are in with on the same as this, same tone, just different mix. Chorus and phaser. Very light, just enough to give it something to swim, because it's behind the acoustic. A little bit of some plate, soothe. Percussion. So the cool thing about this song is, I think it's in, I play this on Benjamin's guitar, and it's in E. And so being able to play an acoustic and just have it open E is really, really cool. I like it. And then that's pretty copy and paste, honestly, for most of it. Let's see if I added something here in the second verse here. All is at rest. Savior, am happy and blessed. Filled with His goodness, lost in His love. This is my story. I like it. Going into the little breakdown. So in that there, I think this guy's doing it. And then some rakes. Nope. Just hits. And then these guys are playing the same lick. Fun little like suspend chord there. And then the lead guitar. Them too. My first ever solo. Oh, no, sorry. Second solo, because I did a solo kind of in Sweet By and By. But that one was actually the first, because I don't remember if I made this one before I made the other ones. I think I finished the other ones, but I was still working on this one. But that one was really fun to do. Let's see here. What else we got? Everything just gets crazy loud at the end. A little bit of mixing back and forth. I cut the original guitar out and then did kind of a left and right thing. I don't remember if I did any automation on that. I don't think I did, because there's no other guitar. Yeah, so that's guitars. Acoustic was pretty straightforward. I think I just threw like one mic and just kind of... I'm a very sloppy player. I did some automation there because I wanted to bring in, like, because with the hit, so I just wanted those to kind of land. And so I brought up other kind of components. But then the lick. Then brought the guitar back up. Yeah, I like that. The last thing I'll show here, because I did some editing here, but the last chorus, or the last breakdown part after the last chorus, I just wanted to see how tight I could get the guitar part. So with those, I just did some extra editing to get it really tight. Just trying to get it super kind of over the top. Those are guitars. Woohoo. I'm getting there. Once I got those down, nope, just kidding. Haha, there's bass. Bass, again, straightforward. The one trick I did with this was I did sort of a dirt bass and a standard clean bass. So the clean bass, that's it's probably Matthew's P bass. He's got a precision bass that's had new strings, and I really liked it. Automating the that swoop, automating that up. But the dirt sounds like this. Probably not enough dirt. And together, that's a nice one. Especially on bass, I really like this thing. Just clamps it down. And there's distortion, and there's, you know, all this other different things going on with it, with the tape. Just really just trying to get it all to feel really close and consistent. I'm also a really sloppy bass player, so I need all the help I can get. This is my story. This is my song. So yeah, bass. Let's see what else I had. Is there any other tricks? Nope. Nope. Pretty straightforward. I did the same kind of edit, and I used the slide as almost like a bass drop in the mix. I really like that lick. It's so much fun. All right, that's guitars. Let's move on to some strings. I don't know why some of these are rendered and some of them are not. Might have been an issue I was having back then. very pretty. Doing some little mixings and things. I like that run.
This is my story.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. One last little thing on the bass is when it comes back in, the hit on the bass, I played a chord. That gritty kind of fifth sound on a bass is what a lot of Linkin Park did that a lot. Just, it's so gritty. So I added that in. All right, that's for reals. For bass. Strings. Na, 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 na. I did something back here. What is it? Yeah, here we go. Very close to a copy and paste, basically. Just kind of another throwback to what I was doing. But it's just pretty.
Watching and waiting, looking up, filled with his goodness, lost in his love. This is my...
And then I don't think I'll see what I was doing here at the end. Echoing the that bass, the guitar lick.
Praising my Savior.
Ooh.
All the day long.
Something growly. A note on these. So I printed off some of these, but this is all Hallian Sonic strings. I do have contact strings that sonically sound better, but I didn't have them at the time, so I didn't get a chance to use them. So these are all just stock Cubase strings. They did the job. It was more just kind of a little mix in for, kind of not an afterthought, but just another layer to add in. So it wasn't just guitar, bass, and drums. On to the vocals. Let's see here. Lead group. Pretty straightforward.
Blessed assurance, Jesus is mine. Oh, what a foretaste of glory divine. Heir of salvation, purchase of God, born of his Spirit, washed in his blood. This is...
Rewire. Can I be established? Oh, see, again, I've not opened up a lot of these, so the rewire link has not been established. I don't know what that means, but I'll fix it later. Same thing with this, just adding a few fun ditties to the vocal.
This is my story, glory divine, heir of salvation, purchase of God, born of his Spirit, washed in his blood.
But the big kicker was even with all that compression, I still was losing a lot of the breathy low stuff that I was singing. So the M2 came to the rescue.
Blessed assurance, Jesus is mine. got a foretaste of glory divine.
Little L1 at the back to keep the transient spikes. And then I did mess this up. This was supposed to be in front of the compressors, because it was supposed to basically automate that vocal into a compressor. And it sounds a little bit better when you do that, but I had already mixed up to this point with it there, so I just left it.
Heir of salvation, purchase of God, born of his spirit, washed in his blood.
Yeah. And what I plan to do more and more is when I'm in the mixing stage, just rendering that out and letting it be its own track. That way it doesn't take up processing. So that's the same with those. Chorus Vox, same thing, but I probably just bumped up. Yeah, I just bumped up the distortion, the flux distortion of the Kramer to get some distortion.
This is my story. This is my song, praising my Savior.
And these are poorly edited for sure.
Praising my Savior.
Oh man, I'm learning, but that's lazy right there. Ugh. But so straightforward vocal, comped out, handful of takes. I did this by myself, so I just sang it a bunch of times and hoped for the best. Same vocal chain, just to keep it consistent. This one, I put some extra stuff on it, and this is a low fake octave.
This is my story. This is my song, praising my Savior.
It's blended back because it's still a different comp sonically, so it is a double. But because I'm putting a little altar boy on there, I'm adding within that a little extra low end for the vocal.
All the day long, this is my story.
And then at the very end, I automated the volume of the low one. Because I went low, I actually pitched. So if you look up here, the transposed, I pitched the last take an octave higher. And this sounds really weird, but it's just sonically matched the other one. Yeah.
All the day long.
Because it's blended back a little bit.
All the day long.
Just added a little something to that part. Background vocals, I added a new harmony each time the chorus came around, so the background vocals are just one right here.
Story, this is my song, praising my Savior.
And these have been printed.
All the day long. This is my story. This is my song, praising my Savior all the day long.
And then in the second verse, I introduced a lower harmony.
All is at rest. I in my Savior am happy and blessed, watching and waiting, looking above, filled with His goodness, lost in His love. This is my story. This is my song. Praise praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long.
Yeah, yo. I love that little harmony bit. I love this.
Watching and waiting, looking above,
And then this.
filled with His goodness.
So like if I played that with the acoustic.
Watching and waiting, looking above, filled with His goodness, lost in His love. This
Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Those get stacked in. I think again, whatever I comped here, I did another comp here and moved it along. Last chorus was completely different. So this is where I went kind of ham on a lot of the extra stuff.
This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story, this is my song.
And then adding all that with the BGVs.
This is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long.
Yeah. Oh, that was too much fun. That was too much fun to kind of finagle. And then the token scream. Don't even know. I don't even know, man. I tried really hard. There's going to be way too many plugins on here. Yeah, basically pulled the same chain from the chorus vocal, pulled it down, threw some reverb, lots of reverb on it just to push it back in the mix. Tried really hard to tune it. Melodyne probably would have done a better job, but again, I didn't have Melodyne at the time of this recording. So there's some artifacts and things, but I tried to get it that, yeah, kind of. Devil Lock to just, go nuts on it. Little bit of, pitch shift to get it just even more kind of gnarly and add some harmonics and whatnot to the vocal. I'm working on getting the screams a little bit better. After seeing Shine Down, I was like, I need to work on my good old fashioned, like just that dirt voice. I might have some on the next one. I got some ideas on the next track I'm going to make, and there might be some really gritty stuff on that one, so we'll see.
Perfect submit.
Yeah, I just did not want it to move at all. Just pegging it as hard as I can. And then just a copy and paste of that guy at the end there. This was really fun. I think I printed these because again there was just a lot going on. But this, so I have BGV Harmony Group. So this is just all the actual singy song stuff. BGV Group down here is more extra. And so this is just in this one spot, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So this was just another thing that I picked up from Breaking Benjamin, was just these really cool sort of like dissonant harmony, like oohs and ahs, and just some really cool elements of things they did with vocals specifically, and not just reaching for a plugin or a VST or something like that, but creating some organic textures. So I'm going to play these one at a time. And the other one. Together. Octave. That's what it was. Octaves. It opened up from an ooh to an ah. Here's 3. And 4. And I don't remember if I sang them low and then did a pitch shift for them, or if I actually sang them high. So it's just 2 octaves, but together with some compression, a little bit extra reverb, some soothe, it sounds like this. And in the mix,
all the day long.
it just made me happy whenever I was like, this sounds cool, let's try it. So glad it worked out. But yeah, it's just those like if you go listen to it's on Phobia by Breaking Benjamin, or Phobia's You, I think it's the song's called You. But it does that. You, whoa. And he does these really cool kind of back and forth with these sort of oohs and ahs and whatnot. And that's BGVs in a nutshell. Let's close up guitars and vocals, because that's, I believe, all that's done there. And then just on the last home stretch here, some effects. So I think this is, I don't know what this is, just a boof, something light and extra on the downbeat. Oof. And I believe this is a sub drop of some type, or sub hit. Yep. So together they go oof and boof. Yep. Oof. Just makes that impact lovely. And then On that same track, I think it's the same impact. I was just doing like some time stretch stuff, but this is a reverse cymbal impact type thing into going into the that down part. Kind of wanted to sound almost like Tiffany's and Thunder.
All the day long.
Same thing down here.
All the day long.
What's crazy, Breck, is we were going to learn when we all get to heaven to play live. And we kind of gave it up, but Benjamin was going to try to play drums. And then the rest of us were going to jump in and play different instruments. And I was going to play out front and play like in the middle of the set or something. It would have been fun. Oh my goodness. I wish. That would be really fun. I had thought about putting together like tracks that have everything but like the guitar and lead vocal and just like adding it in and playing it for like an after show thing. Like if I do like a DJ set, I can throw that track in there, pick up guitar and just sing and play it at the same time. That'd be really fun. For the group stuff, I like adding group tracks at the very end of any process. I got a C4 on the drums, little bump on the low, just kind of low end. Nothing crazy, it's just barely tapping. A little extra parallel distortion with a little bit of brightness with this E setting. Just kind of makes the cymbals pop a little bit. Just some transient taming compression there. Some clipping, which is kind of barely doing anything really. Again, just kind of catching little peaks here and there and kind of shaving them off. And then an L2 for safety, but really it wasn't getting touched. All vocals got a decapitator and a compressor just to kind of catch, add more dirt and kind of glue the vocals a little bit closer.
Song praising my Savior.
Especially as I added vocals throughout and the transitions, the handoffs and stuff. It made them feel more consistent without them jumping around too much in the mix. Yeah, I'd love to. It's just with the way that I program drums, I think it'd be really hard for Benjamin. But it was fun to teach them like the little lick, the da 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 thing on when we all get to heaven. It was a lot of fun. Let's see if this L2 is doing something. A little bit of extra volume, just because again, whenever I got to the mix and everything was slamming, I was like, all right, let me just lift the vocals up a little bit more.
All the day long. This is my song.
And again, it's just like those plosives and those transients that spike through compression, depending on the release settings and stuff. It's a good way to kind of tame all of that. One sec. All effects, I just threw everything that was anything extra reverbs, delays, all that kind of stuff, which I have down here. Just a C4 to make sure that those frequencies weren't building up even in the delays and reverb. So there's the C4 kind of. Just cleaning up any of that kind of low mid stuff, so that way it doesn't build up. I would have changed this, but I did a little bit of gain staging, so I didn't want to mess with it. But I usually put, for the all music, I still like to put stereo compression. This is stereo, but it's linked, so it is compressing left and right the same. And this is good on the master bus, which I do believe I have. This guy. So I have this guy on the master bus, and he's good, and he's just doing some light, patting of the top of the mix. You'll be in the area November 7th. Ooh. It says that there's something in Florida, Georgia. There's something in Florida, Georgia. Oh, there's a youth gathering on the 6th, that Sunday. The 7th is my dad's birthday, November 7th. And there's a big block that says potential Florida. So I think the time that we probably would have been off, we had to use that space as sort of cushion for rescheduling and rebooking some stuff. But if we're not doing anything on November 7th, it is my dad's birthday. So I will wish you the best of luck to live workshops. That's really cool. If you ever get bored and you're doing that, or afterwards, you can come sing happy birthday at our place. Come on down and sing happy birthday. We'll eat cake and, I don't know, blow something up. It'll be fun. But I normally have a stereo compressor here at the end, like a 2511 or 33609. But I did some gain staging stuff, so I don't want to mess with it, because this is all the music. There shouldn't be any vocals at all. So this helps me control the entire instrumental mix, keeps it under wraps, and pumping and slamming. But the vocals are not. The vocals go straight to the mix bus, so they don't get slammed that way. And then that way the vocals stay on top of the mix without getting crushed underneath all that compression that's holding giving energy and some pumpage to the music.
This is my story. This is my song. Praising my Savior all the day long.
Really slamming this emulation of a console. So this is like the board, trying to get some of that analog sizzle. Little bit of kind of mid-range. To some of that weird build up in the mids. This is what I would have used on the other one. Set the ratio 2:1. Probably could drop that back if I wanted to 1.5, because I've learned is that CLA, Crystal Lord Algae, will do 2 to 3 dB of compression at 1.5 ratio. So I guess it's for every 1.5 dB it goes over, it turns it down. So it's basically really close to like not doing anything, but he's doing so much compression on the back end, it's more just like keeping everything flowing and keeping a hand on top of the mix so nothing gets out of hand. It really glues it all together.
Praising my Savior all the day long.
And I kind of wish it had an auto function. The 33609 has an auto function that's really good. That's why I switched this out. This one has auto, and this one's doing kind of the same.
This is my story. This is my song.
It's kind of taming some of the... So the transients, it's another just a little fluff, but it's also this is in between those. So I'm pumping a little bit of 100 hertz in and doing a boost at 12K at a pretty wide band. And so that is being run into this compressor. Let me see, hold on. So I'm boosting into the other controller, or the other compressor. For sure. I love an all bus mix. And then mainly I wouldn't do that much compression if it was just, oh yeah, cool, man. Dude, yeah. I've got some some people who jump in for the streams that are consistent, and so hopefully as this thing kind of gets going, more and more people, they want to jump in and say hey and learn my crazy ways of making noise on this computer. Hopefully they can come hang out. But dude, you have fun. I guess you guys missed the hurricane a little bit, but it took a swing at y'all. It was headed your guys' way, and then it turned into Florida. But I hope y'all are doing good, and you have a good day, man. Enjoy the weekend. No, it's Thursday. Yeah, almost weekend. It's almost the weekend. It's the day before the weekend. See you later, man. Added this guy afterwards. Just add a little extra brightness, a little extra kind of shimmer in the middle of the mix, the kind of mid-range.
This is my song, praising my Savior.
Little brightness. This is my favorite plugin of all time. Once I learned how to use it, just adds something.
Praising my Savior.
If you're wearing headphones, it's more obvious.
All the day long. This is my story. This is my song.
It just does something sparkly and spreads everything out. Just makes it sound cool. New addition to this mix. This wasn't on the original, but this little booger here is fantastic.
Praising my Savior.
It's a gritty saturation, just a little extra something to the mix.
This is my story. This is my song. Praising my Savior.
I have it in mid side, so it's processing the mid signal, the kind of the mono signal, and the side signal separately, and doing a little bit of saturation and kind of a lift in the lower mids to bring some more of that less sharp high end, and just kind of lifts the lower end of the mix up a little bit. And that runs into this monster for loudness.
All the day long. This is my story.
That should not be that loud.
This is
I don't know why it was that loud. Let me leave this alone. I should not have been clipping that much. I don't clip like that.
This is my story. This is my song. Praising my Savior. All the
better. And then just literally on the stereo out, I have an L2 and a little bit of, I was messing with this limiter to get it nice and loud.
Perfect submission, all is at rest. I in my Savior am happy and blessed, watching and waiting.
Yeah. Last few things for these effects. Just a long reverb. Doubler for width.
Praising my Savior.
Delay.
Praising my Savior.
De-essing pretty hard so that way I'm not building up S's.
This is my story.
Drum room. Just a room sound. Acoustic and a few things in the room. Another doubler. So this would have been on just instruments and shakers and stuff. Instrument doubler. GTR room.
Praising my Savior.
Just adding some depth to the guitars. I forget what this is. This is an impulse. Is this even going to do anything? So this is a room impulse for strings. And this was me attempting to put a little extra grit on the guitars that I recorded before. So that way they could be a bit more distorted and kind of gritty. I don't think it worked. I'd probably just redo the guitars at that point if I needed more tone or whatever, or just reamp them somehow. But this was an attempt to get it to have a little bit more grit on those, kind of like a parallel distortion.
Perfect.
On that, button that up is... That's it.
This is my story. This is my song. Praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story. This is my song. Praising my Savior all the day long.
All right. Y'all have a great day. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I know it's short notice. Like the video. That helps. Subscribe if you want to. And leave a comment if there was anything that I skipped over, or if you want to learn anything more about what I did. Just let me know. Also, if you want to like send any information on like times to stream when it makes sense, and like any suggestions on what you'd like to see, I do plan on doing some mixes of our original music soon. Maybe do some remixes live, beat making, Q&A stuff. Ring the bell, yeah. The bell helps as well. Because again, I'm new at this, and this is fun. And genuinely, I just enjoy sharing, just sort of kind of the inside look. I wish more people did this. Just an inside look of creating music, and just the process, the learning, the mistakes, and and what it feels like to kind of create something that you're proud of is it's really encouraging and kind of spurs you on to create something new and try new things. And this was a really, really fun process, and there's definitely more to come. Just thank you all so much again. Let me know if 30 minutes is too short of a time or if I need to let you guys know like the day in advance or whatever. Just let me know, and I'll do my best to make sure everyone knows and is in on whenever I go live. And I'll probably like towards the end of the year, our schedule kind of lightens up, and we're at home, for the holiday season and Christmas and whatnot. So if I'm home for at least a week straight, I'll probably do like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or like a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday type schedule for that week, and then just jump in. That way people kind of know what's going on. But just thank y'all so much for hanging out. Again, like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. Share this video with anybody that you think it might be helpful, if there's something in here that you thought was cool. And I will catch y'all in the next one. Stay safe. Prayers up for Florida again. Watch out, South Carolina. It seems to be headed your way, the hurricane and all the bad weather. So we're going to get a little bit of rain this weekend. So, it dropped like 30 degrees when that storm came through. So, we're getting a little bit, but not nearly as much as y'all. So stay safe out there. Enjoy the impending weekend, and happy fall, y'all. See y'all later.